This thing StreamYard come in handy. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Lean and Mean Academy. Today we are live with my good buddy Cody Yarbrough from Southeast Soft Wash down in Roanoke, Alabama. Out there at the Skunk Works.
Yeah.
Out there at one of the pieces of Skunk Works, anyway.
Yeah.
How you doing, Cody?
I'm doing good, man. I look like a Sith Lord, and you look like Jordan Peterson there. You got
Yeah.
got
This
that
is
whole
what I'm gonna get. I'm gonna get one of them big paintings over my mantle for my
yeah.
grandkids, and I'm gonna wear this cardigan. And I gotta tell him to paint like a little French miniature bulldog, and like by a fire and a pipe. You know what I mean?
I'll put that over my bed.
That's right. That's right. Who's that? That's your
That's Aaron.
granddaddy Aaron. Ornery as hell.
He invented some things. He's my friend, and he's me.
He's mean as hell.
So funny. What are we
Oh,
talking about today? Because I just saw you were doing a live in our Inner Circle private group, and I caught a piece of it. So I shot Aaron a text, and I said, "Hey, we need to rehash some of that stuff because it was really, really good stuff, and it's really good for new guys."
well, I think that, our content is kind of dictated by it's an ebb and a flow, right? Well, we receive a lot of comments and emails, and in your business you get a lot of stuff, and our content is always trying to help and kind of solve a problem or help guys jump a learning curve or something, and I'd say 80% of that is to alleviate their pain, but the 20% of that is just to stop blowing our ass up about it. You know what I mean? And so this is one of those things that I felt like it needed to be said, and in the softest way possible, which I'm not very good at. But fortifying your business, I kind of thought of it as a lot of new guys. They have this dichotomy and this choice, this fork in the road, if you will, and it could be multiple times a week, sometimes multiple times a day. Maybe even when you come home in your marriage, you're going to meet up with this decision that you have to make, and it's a fork in the road. And the fork in the road is the choice of being the amateur or the choice of being the pro. And it's much harder, as Cody's going to attest to. It's much harder to be the pro in the moment. Pro always costs more money up front. It always does up front. But the peace of mind that is bestowed upon you down the road by choosing the pro route is priceless. And I'm going to let you go into this, Cody, but I would say a lot of guys who we're talking to, the young guys who, are just starting their business, maybe they're broke, right? Because I kind of resonate with that crowd because I started there. I don't take no prisoners with them, all right, because I couldn't with myself. But I think that they don't understand what peace of mind even looks like.
Yeah.
And so you're trying to explain peace of mind to someone who's never felt it. And
Yeah.
that's hard because that's a fairy tale painting. They've never seen it. So let's kind of chat about that, guys, in the chat. If you want to add anything, you got any comments, questions, or whatever, put it up. If it's relevant, we'll bring it in. But Cody, let's talk a little bit about the fork in the road and the amateur versus the pro.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that we all get to deal with when you start out in any kind of business, because you could be an amateur HVAC guy. You know there's some certifications there, but you could be an amateur handyman, you could be an amateur whatever, but the decision on what you got to be, I'm going to go grab a charger, but you get to make that decision early on, kind of the 30,000 foot decision, but you also get to keep making that decision the longer you stay in business. So, Alyssa, can you go and get me the appropriate charger for this tab for this computer? We make that decision. I made that decision early because, never mind, I found one. We went into business full time in 2018. I always get that wrong, but I think it was 2018 that we decided we were going to, when I say we, it was me. I decided I was going to quit my job and go from part-time, soft wash extraordinaire on the part-time schedule to a full-time situation. And we were like amateur as crap, which is pretty wild considering how long we had been in the business. Just bear with me here, guys. Dad freaking invents roof cleaning, and we're still amateurs. So we threw together a rig. Me and Dusty. Dusty came on board with me in February of that year, and we threw together a rig. And what we're talking about here, guys, listen, it's not equipment. That's not what we're talking about. It can be seen that way, but that's not really the gist of this. So we got to throw together a rig, and we go out there and we're making money. But the mental shift with the decision to go pro is, how are you going to keep operating? Are you going to keep operating in seat of your pants territory, right? Or are you going to operate in abundance mindset? And that's with everything, whether Dewey's a great example, this Dewey Atchison, but I'm pretty smart. The danger for a guy like me is I'm slick enough with this stuff that I could operate by the seat of my pants. Like, I could pull it off because I can MacGyver stuff. I can make it work, but I don't operate like that, because here's what I found. In the short term, it frees up some cash flow. But in the long term, all you're doing is pushing your problems down the road that you're going to inherit later. And the thing about those problems is they're going to arise at the worst possible moment. Whereas if I take back here to the fork in the road and I say, I'm just going to do things above board the right way, I'm going to reinvest into the business, I get to decide when I kill those problems, right? Okay, I've got $1,000 extra left over this week. What can we buy? Do we need to stock up on some chems? No, we're looking pretty good on our chem inventory. And I'm talking about a guy on a wash truck now. Do we need to get us any spare parts? That super swivel right there is kind of rusty. I'm going to go ahead and change $65. Let's get one of those. The soft wash one. I think we broke one of those last week. So let's go ahead and see what we're doing is we're able to, at our convenience, at our timing, we can change these things out. We can work on our marketing. We can work on these things tactically on the front end. But if you do it the other way, I think that's the biggest problem, is you're always in reaction mode. And the Murphy's Law says it's never going to come up when you still got that $1,000. It's going to pop up when you just got home from vacation and you spent all your money.
Yep. It's going to pop up that next Tuesday morning on the big job, on the one that is the time constraint, right? That $10,000 job that you're going to knock out in a day. You've been wishing about it, right? This is when I think I always believe God has a sense of humor like this. Like he with the talents, we talk about the talents. I think it can be taken to me as like a sense of humor. Like,
Yeah.
You better be prepping, cuz you better be focused. You better be planting. You better be sowing. You better, because you ain't reaping nothing if you ain't planting. That's how I visualize it, man. I visualize it in a way that, my 6-year situation, right? Because I talk about that a lot because I know guys resonate with it, and because there's more people going through stuff like that than want to admit it. And so every dollar I got my hands on, man, I had enough just to live and kind of exist that first year. And I had a lot of money going out to the fight, right? The situation, the attorneys, all that stuff. So think about that. Like, you're getting a new business started and your attorney's like, hey, I need $10,000 for the last 2 months. You're like, dang, you need how much? That's a half an Alumomax by now, and then make me throw up.
That's what you've preached. That's been your biggest shtick. And that's what Dewey Atchison's comment right here. Price got to go up, right?
Yep.
That was a Mike Killian quote, but Aaron's made it the meme of the channel, of his channel. And it was on that meme, that thought was, price got to go up, not for Nitto grapplers. Price got to go up, not to go blow it on a new gun. Price got to go up so that you can afford to fortify the business, right? You can't do any of these things if you're the $99 guy. So that's just an assumed, understood view. You're going to get your prices up. But what do you do once you get your prices up and you're making some money? You're making $25,000 in that month in the spring that you've never done that before in your life. if you don't choose to reinvest your funds properly, you can't turn around and blame anybody but yourself when it goes sideways, and it will go sideways. And as an equipment manufacturer, we get a lot of that flack because guys they turn around and the first person they see to blame is that logo on the side of the skid. And they're like, aha, blame them because it's not running. We had a guy call yesterday that's had his skid 3.5 years ago. He predates Monday. He's not even in our Monday software. He's that old.
That's a
I
long
don't
time.
think we were even in the current building. And I saw it come through Jill's office, and I was like, I remember that guy's name because he's kind of got like a weird last name. And I read the script from Jill's office. Yes, and they talked to Cody. My pressure washer's having an issue. And this is the part of the show where I insert my favorite catchphrase of all time. But I'm like, bro, we're not here for that. Well, Southeast is a jackass. I'm like, no, we're not. Like,
Damn, cuz my question is, when's the day that like you learn how to do it? Right? Like you didn't buy a truck at Ford and then the next week go back and say, hey, I need y'all to teach me how to back up to a trailer. They're gonna say, you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna say, oh no, sir. What you gonna do now, because the truck is yours, you gonna back up and let that tongue of that trailer ram right into the bumper. And it's going because you never done it. So what you gonna do is you gonna bump right into that bump, tear the hell out of it. Just bank up into your tag, crush the tag again. You know what I mean? You gonna miss it. Hey, and guess what? After this, you're gonna know how to back up to a trailer. You're also gonna spend $1,000 and buy another bumper, brand new bumper. But
Yep.
that bumper and learning how to back up is your job. Is you learning how to do it on site, and it ain't Ford's fault.
Nope.
It's your fault. But I think guys need to understand the fork in the road here is that you had a choice, okay? And whether or not you noticed you have a choice is it's still your fault, right?
Yep.
So you had
Yep.
a choice either to crank up that argument a little heavier, right? With the why, I mean, come on, man. Hey, it wasn't even a thing, but you decided to go on and just twist the knife a little bit with another comment. Well, you're gonna get it. See, a lot of guys go through life subconsciously about this. They don't even feel like they're impressing themselves upon life. Like what they do doesn't affect. And the funny thing is you buy a case of Mud Mayday, a lot of you guys will use all that case up and you'll have about this much left in the last jug. And somehow God has a sense of humor. In about a week, you're going to get a call for a big mud removal. And that day he's going to say, hey, I got about this amount of square feet. It's a $10,000 job. And you ain't got no Mud Mayday because you didn't reorder.
Yep.
And now it's Cody's fault because you didn't. See, that's what I think my mission of mercy is on this channel. Maybe that's it. It's just constantly beating self accountability, responsibility to where these guys will take their first year profits, right? Like Dewey Atchison, Glenn, these guys, they got some killers in the comments right now, some just absolute killers. And guys who do what I'm talking about. I'm preaching to the choir to some of these cats. But it's you take that money. It's not yours. You take enough to exist, enough to pay for enough to pay for rent. He said enough to pay for rent and buy yourself some rice and beans, okay, if that's where you're at.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it goes back into the business. Because year two, if you do this, if you just keep bulldozing that money back into the business, you say, hey, there's a super swivel. Hey, I need to get 2 more cases of that. Hey, I need to, guys in the comments, I need to get this. I need to fortify it. In year two, you've built a habit of this and you just have an inventory. You know, we talk about my brother, Pierce. Pierce is like, y'all don't ever see Pierce, but Pierce is making a lot of money. Pierce is taking over. He's got 6 trucks, 6 skids. He's got 1,500 gallon bleach tank sitting behind his shop. Oh, must be nice. Ain't nothing nice about it. Pierce works on Sunday and has for 5 years. And Pierce don't even talk about it.
No,
He don't care. It ain't a thing.
it's just the normal operating mode that he's
There you go. Pierce. Hey, he's got a different level of honor than I do. Pierce, but why? Okay, well, I'm gonna go to church. What, y'all gonna pay my bills? Y'all gonna pay? What y'all gonna do? He goes, y'all gonna get this stuff done? He goes, no. Okay. He goes, I'll be there, but not this Sunday.
Right.
You know, Pierce is frequency. He is complete self-responsibility, personal responsibility. Pierce says 5 electric Titan reels in boxes pushed in the corner, brand new.
And that's a lot of money.
He's got 3 Honda GX690 8-gallon a minutes in boxes, brand new, just sitting there.
But here's the thing, man. People want to, they want a ball like Pierce, but they don't want to put in the practice like Kobe. They don't want to put in the work. They don't want to show up at 3 and be there shooting free throws.
No.
But they want to get the glory at the end. And it's like, look, we're just here to help. So you can't blame us. We had guys show up to the shop last week. I think it was Wednesday or Thursday, loaded their skid up, midweek pickup, cool guys, mid-40s. You know, they're about 10 years older than me. Good looking guys. Like the truck looked good. Their shirts on. Off they go. 20 minutes later, they come back in the parking lot holding 2 pieces of a ratchet strap. Just really ashamed to ask me this, but they could not work a ratchet strap. And I was like, well, I mean, you've never worked a ratchet strap? You're like 50 years old. Man, we just never worked one. Like, here's the deal. Number one, you should feel a little bit ashamed, and I will make a little bit of fun of you because, my God, if the Japs and the Germans come for us this time, we're in a mess because it's basically Mike and Preston have to save us. But Jet's pretty good with the airsoft gun. He's about to get upgraded like immediately because the 50-year-olds can't work a ratchet strap. But that's where you're at, right? That's okay. That's where you're at. At least be aware of that. That's where you're at. But here's the deal. Don't come hollering at me 2 months from now when you can't figure something out on the job site. You got to understand that that's where you're starting from, right? And so you need to re-fortify the weak links in your armor. To those guys, their weak links may be the mechanical side of the house. A lot of guys struggle there. But here's the danger. A lot of blue-collar guys that get in the business, their weak links in the armor is the marketing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they don't want to re-fortify. And then they're like, I can't get no jobs. Well, what have you done? Well, nothing. You didn't re-fortify. You didn't fortify the weak link in your armor. Guys, you've got to work on what you suck at. I hate going to the range. I was at the range with the SRT guys the other day, and I hate standing there and shooting one-hand drills, weak-handed, at 25 yards. I suck at it. But the 2 guys that I play with, the 2 guys that I got footage of, they're Jedis. They are absolute Jedi masters. And these dudes they're doing beep, ping in 1.15 seconds, 25-yard hits. How did they get good at that? Because they fortified the thing that they sucked at. And when they're at the range, I've noticed the difference in them and other guys that are hobbyists, right? Not pros. Because these are 2 SWAT team operators. They're operating. You were talking about that in the live there. What does that mean? These are 2 SWAT team operators. They're legit as you can be. What's the difference in them and the guy that goes out there and stands flat-footed at 10 yards and shoots Coke cans? All right, that's pro versus amateur. The difference is when they get that fork in the road that day, they decided to go pro. They looked for the things they sucked at, and they kept working on those things. The amateur reinforces the things he's already good at. That's the cognitive dissonance that you've got to be aware of that says, I'm good at shooting a bullseye from 7 yards, so I'll do that for the next 25 years because it makes me feel warm and fuzzy, and I'll never work on the suck part, right? The pro looks for the suck. He embraces the suck because when he finds it, that's almost 50% of it is being able to identify it, right? at the level me and Aaron are playing at now, in the tens of millions of dollars game, that's almost the harder part, is finding it. Because once we find it, we're on it, dude, and we're gonna like wah, 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 boom, there's a product.
It takes a lot of at this level, it takes a lot of like chopping at it, man. Like we'll have like 5 conversations and we're like, what is it? What's the way to mitigate this, or what's the way to make this operate seamlessly? How do we kanban this? How do we kaizen this? You know what I mean? And it takes a lot more, because guess what? As your success level goes up, guys, like you have to watch this. And part of it should, but your ego will go up. Okay.
Yeah.
And you got to watch that, because your rose colored glasses start showing up even more. They get even more rose colored and you can't see anything. So what you have to do is humble yourself every single day. And you have to be like, all right, I'm pretty retarded. And so I got to figure this out, because you have to like get back to that square one level where you're like, I have to look at the forest for the trees. I have to see it. And if you can look at some of this stuff, and like Cody is saying, you choose the pro route and you're investing back into your business. Well, next week, there's going to be another test. Tomorrow, there's going to be another test to the Karen who comes out of her door and starts testing you and hollering at you. And you got a choice, right? You got a choice to be pro or to be an amateur. Right. And so it constantly is hitting you. You know, we have another business that we're going off into coming very soon. A lot of these guys are going to love that business. A completely separate situation. I'm not going to talk deep into it, but and that, look, we're guys writing the checks, right? Some of this equipment is $100,000, right? And it's like, well, dang, you know what I mean? It's like, all right, well, they need the money, and then it's like, all right, well, write the check. You know what I mean? Like it ain't, the equipment ain't gonna move over here if the check ain't written. So, you know what I mean? And so for me, it's all about choosing the pro route every single time. All right. You go out there, you run out of chem. Let that be the last time you ever run out of chem. Here's my question. Why don't you get one of them little $100, $150 shelves at Home Depot? You know,
Yes.
put it in the garage or in your shop or in your basement, wherever. And here's what you do: you stack the chems in a line, see, like a Coke machine, see, and one line is Mud Mayday, and one line is Southern Slang, and one line is Dynamite Degreaser, and you can see how much you have and don't have. And every single time you run out, you buy 2 more cases. There should be a time, like Pierce is getting to this place right now, where he could look around and say, "Nah, I probably don't need to buy no more of that." Dude's he's got boxes of fittings. He has pallets of hoses.
Yep.
And so get to that point and then pop up and look around and say,
Right.
I think we're good here. I think we're good here. We
Right.
can, right? But just keep your head down.
Yeah, you know, it's inventory. A lot of it's just inventory, guys. That just don't want to spend the money on inventory, and I get it, because even big massive companies, they did this thing in the 90s called just in time shipping, JIT, just in time. And what the root of that was is these companies looked around and said, "Dang, we're sitting on billions of dollars of inventory. So if we can just produce and it goes right out the door to the customer, then on our balance sheet, we can reduce that inventory back into a profit margin number, and our stock price will go up." And so a lot of these companies did that. I was there when Mohawk Carpets did that. We sat on, so many million square feet of carpet, and that slowly went down to where it basically came off of the machine and went out into shipping, and it was very little inventory and shipping. So on the bean counter sheet, right, the asset column, the P&L column, there was more net profit down there because you spent less back into the business. But what you do in reality is you just made life much more risky, because you don't have a stopgap there anymore to absorb anything. That's what we saw in COVID. COVID revealed a lot of time shipping issues that companies had, where everybody was like, one little dunk and supply chain fell apart. I mean, it fell apart.
Everything went to, oh, that's on back order.
Yeah,
That's on back the whole dang site
the
with
whole
the
world.
back.
Because there was no buffer there, right? Things had
Yep.
always happened in the past, but we had a little buffer to kind of ease through it. But they got rid of that buffer over time because that was the thinking was, well, we can boost our profit, the spendable money, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how guys operate. We made a ton of money this year so far. We're like, it's a stupid number. I won't even tell you. You'd feel bad. But this month we've spent almost $1 million this month, right? In we're getting toward the end of the month. I'm looking at the P&L. Emily's kind of putting it together for the month, and we've almost spent $1 million. But a lot of that is we're pouring back into inventory because our stuff comes in kind of big waves like that. We'll buy, 2 stacks of trailers. That's almost $50,000. Our other fab shop, $55,000. We went ahead and preceded some money into our account for our bills that we pay out. There's another $60,000. Hey, we're low on some of this stuff that we order in bulk. Let's just go ahead and order it. So, yeah, when we look at the P&L, we probably could have had another 150K in profit on there and made the paper look good and made our sales feel good. But what we would have done that was at the expense of inventory in the warehouse, because right now I can go and look and there's let's see, there's 12 Gen 1 Alumimax frames sitting on the yard. We don't even have 12 in the queue. There's 8 Gen 2 frames. There's not even 8 in the queue. There's surface cleaner racks that we own. There's old ladder racks on the Gen 1s, a pile of them. We go back, the whole tank area is slapped full of tanks. We look at the chem stack and it's double rack. There's chems. I walk around, and when I walk out of there on a Friday, I'm like, you dang right, right? We're ready for war next week and next month because
You better be.
the quiver is full of arrows, right? We have fortified the structure here, and that's what you have to do, right? The benefit is once you do that for a certain amount of time, then you get to do like what you're saying with Pierce. You get to pop your head up and get to make that decision.
Right.
Not the circumstances no longer dictate what you can and can't do.
I sometimes wonder though, like we talked about earlier, is it like guys don't understand what that actually feels like? You know what I mean? And I didn't for a long time, but here's how I combated it is that I was really, taken for a lot of money and a lot of time with my son, right? I vowed, I mean, from slander, yeah, I mean, go down the list, bro. I was like in a down, down, down state. Okay. And also paying out a lot of money to get beat up. Um, but I said to myself, I will never let this happen again. And there will be nothing will torpedo me like this again. And so what I did is I got almost obsessive. I got obsessive with putting money back into the business. I got obsessive. It was like, no, 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 no. Like there was a time where I was running numbers and I was like, bro, I can live on Chipotle cheaper than I can buy groceries. And I had figured it out. And I was like, dude, at like $300 a month, $400 a month, I figured out because I was pouring it all back. I wasn't like broke. I had like jobs. You know what I mean? I had stacks of jobs, but I was like lean as hell. It was all going back into the business, all going back into the business. Heck, even Mad Max has got some motorized reels, baby. You know what I mean? Like we were, it's set up 2 8-gallon a minutes. We're not skimpy out there,
Right.
So it was all going back into the business, a lot into marketing, everything into marketing, everything into SEO, everything into Google Ads. And that means through the winter, I was running Google Ads. Okay. And we'll always do that. And I always recommend guys do that. But that's really how you have to be if you're starting off there. I hope guys can heed this word of advice to fortify your business and keep tons of chemical in stock. Don't wait till the last minute. I got to keep beating. We got to keep beating this because I see it, and you've kind of revealed it to me, Cody. That like because as an equipment guy, it hits you harder than it hits me. You know what I mean? Because guys truly believe that like if they bought a skid from you, like some guys believe like you are supposed to hold their hand and teach them and run their business from afar. And they will get angry if you don't run their business. Guys in the chat, can you imagine the entitlement? First off, a skid costs about as much as a used Toyota Camry. Okay. All right. So you
Yeah.
didn't come off of no money. So
Yeah.
you didn't buy a giant factory for 10 million and had a consulting deal built in the buyout.
That's what the thing is.
They think
Yeah.
there's a consulting buyout in a $20,000, $30,000 per. No, you didn't even purchase a new F-250 at 110,000. You bought a $20,000, $30,000 piece of equipment that oddly, and this is wild as hell, it's the damnest thing, it could make you multiple six figures. Like, that's not how any business works.
Right.
A skid steer and a dump truck, guess what? You can't do shit with it. You got to have a big ass trailer. That's $30,000 for that too.
Right.
Think about, like, you got to do land clearing, dude. It's so much money. So it's like, how do we, or me and you, me, whatever? I'm here to extinguish the entitlement syndrome. I'm here to like stomp it out, have them unsubscribe, have them hate me, have them talk about it. You know what I mean? Because I'm sick of guys who take the amateur path and the fork in the road. And that's what that is. It's not a consulting buyout. You bought a piece of equipment, go use it.
Yep. Yep. It's just very weird to me. Like, who did we call?
No one.
Who did I call? I get to call anybody. It's like, if you got a warranted part that failed, let us know. But other than that, like, you can kind of go jump in the lake. Like, hey man, we sold you the rig. We gave you a little bit of training. If that was what you got, a lot of guys come and take the training and then they call 2 weeks later and they got questions about how to use gutter guard. I don't care how you use it. Instructions are on the jug. There's a video embedded on the website. Go use the tools the Lord has given you. You don't get it.
There's so much training. There's so much stuff, even like stuff was on YouTube, right, that we put out, but also like paid training. You know what I mean? And think about it. Like, I think our highest ticket for like paid training is like a job. It's not even a job that Ben and I did today.
And that's what frustrates me so
Like,
much. We've given everyone the tools. They just don't want to buy the tools.
That's all
They
they
want
don't
to keep
want.
coming back and using my tools. And I'm like, no. These are my tools. But I need somebody to talk to. No, I'm paying that guy's salary, right? He doesn't work for you. Can't. Well, no, nobody called me back. Well, but we're not here for that. Like, we sold you the rig, and that was when you leave the yard, the rig is yours. It's not a franchise. You don't cut me a 20% check every month for all of your revenue, right? We don't do that. We don't do that on purpose because I want everybody to own their own business. But with that means you have to own your own business.
Yep.
Nobody's coming to save you, bro. Nobody's coming to save you.
And hey, I can root you on from afar.
I
want you to win.
Right.
And there's a lot of guys that do.
I go too far with it. I want you to win because it reflects good on the equipment when you do win. But here's the deal. I'm not going to make you win. And if that means you want to go leave a 1-star, go ahead. Drop it over there. Because the proof's in the pudding. It's like you can't go to International Harvester and buy a tractor and then expect them to help you farm for the next 15 years.
Nope.
You just can't. Nothing works that way. And it's not because out of the goodness of the old boy's heart down there at the farm store that he don't love you. It's that it cannot work that way. Right? It just can't. Like, it's the law of the universe. So we want you guys to go pro because we want to see you win. We've won. We've got a list of guys that are just Dewey. You still got his comment up there. Those guys bought a mini skid. They went home and made they bought 2 and they put them in an enclosed trailer. And they went home and made like $500,000. And then they upgraded and they bought some other equipment from another vendor. Rock on, dude. That's awesome. I love to see him win. He's one of the few people I'm like friends with on Facebook. They're out there crushing it. We don't care that you don't have to buy our stuff. Just get good stuff and use it and go and kill. You got to leave your cave. You got to kill your deer. You got to drag it home. You got to skin it. All we're here to do is to provide you the tools, the know-how, the training to get you up and running. And I just want to see you win, man. But you're never going to win if you don't develop that mindset of taking responsibility going the pro route in your own mind. You say, I'm going to be the Michael Jordan of my industry in my area. That's what I'm going to do.
This is a good one. Stefan says you need to have an option on the phone. Press 5 to input your credit card for a 10-minute equipment consult.
I
You
thought
know,
about that.
well, I mean, and that's not a bad idea. You know, the amount of flack, and I give a shit, but it's like the amount of flack. He's put y'all in for consults. Can you imagine? It's like, so what we have to do here, and I've seen this before, and this is kind of what my channel started on, is I never gave a shit what y'all thought anyway. Okay. Like I never did. I never grew to giving a shit. It's been actually, I give less of a shit than when I started now about how you think about me. Okay. And maybe that's why you guys watch. I don't know. Maybe it is. But it's like that's this thing. I've watched it permeate since I've been teaching and doing SEO and training and marketing and stuff like that. And there's two types of people. There's two types of people. There's guys like Ketchow, Reggie, Hoffpower, Dewey, Ben, guys who, Glenn, I could keep going. You guys are in the chat. You guys are in the inner circle. But then there's the other guy, right? And the other guy is a lot louder because if you don't serve him, what does he do? He runs to Google.
Yeah.
He runs to wherever reviews will affect you, right? Like that Karen. But I want guys to want to think about this in this way. Is like if a customer called you today and said, "Hey, I want you to teach me. I don't want to purchase your service, but I want you to teach me how to clean my house this afternoon." And I know you're a pressure washer. You're a pro. Been doing it for a while. Would you teach me how to do it? And you're like, "Oh, well, we offer services." And you're like, No. I want service. I want you to teach me, and I expect you to teach me
For free.
And you're like, yeah, for free. I'm not going to pay you. I just need you to teach me. I know you know how to do it. Been doing it for a long time. You're an expert. So I need you to teach me how to clean my house. And you're like, but we clean our house. We clean houses. I get that.
Yeah. That's why I called you, because you know what you're talking about. So if you could, I need about 30, 40 minutes of your time real quick, just while I got you on the phone.
And you say, and you know how you feel. This son of a bitch. That's what you think in your mind. You got the nerve to think I owe you something, right? And here's what happens though if you don't. This is what we've experienced. If you don't entertain that Karen, they run to wherever reviews may be and they scream it from the rooftops that you're a piece of shit. It's like a child throwing a tantrum in the produce section of Walmart. It's like, like that's what it is. Yep. And so choose the pro route, guys. Cody, do you have anything else to add to this? Because I think this is the bane of America right now. But I'm in an industry where I see it be so prevalent.
Yeah.
I see guys have such expectancy and put so much of the weight on you, on me, on the core four, to like somehow run the business. Yeah. And if not, we're a scammer. If not, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. It's just, guys, it is, it's very hard. It's hard to juggle and navigate what the right thing is to do, because, I want to keep a good name, and we've worked really hard to have a good name in the market. Like, I can't simultaneously be the guy that's willing to drive, 5,000 miles a year to just take care of customers that system won't run and it's an airlocked pump. And I drove to Bradenton, Florida to show a guy that there was nothing wrong with his trailer. And he was just super mad. And then I showed him in 9 minutes. I timed it. And me and Emily made a trip to the Keys out of it. But, I've done that so many times where the proof is there. But how do you reveal that in a way that, because I'm honestly almost to my breaking point. I'm almost to the point where I'm starting to I'm ripping pathways away from people to get a hold of us, because you can't maintain what the person on the other side, the avatar of person on the other side, thinks is appropriate. It's non-maintainable and it's not right. And nobody ever told them that was right. But in their mind, so here's the trick, right? Think about that Karen that calls you, and maybe you even washed their house 2 or 3 times for them. They're a previous customer. How offended you would be at that. But here's the trick, is to try to identify that in your own self.
Mm.
Where do you do that when you interact with other companies? That you had a guy call this morning, and Ty's on his headset, and Ty looks at me and reaches over and hits speaker, and that means this guy's retarded. That's what that means. So I'm look over, and he's like, I paid $26,000 for this skid, and you guys told R&L not to come and get it. And I was like, what's he talking about? What you talking about? So I said, hey man, and I videoed most of this call. I said, hey, can you tell us what you're talking about? Because this skid's sitting out there on the floor. It's been finished a couple of weeks. He's in Massachusetts, so he's got that, Boston accent. I scheduled a freight quote, and R&L says that the customer refused to load it up. I was like, hold on, bro. We have no idea what you're talking about. Your skid's done, but if you want to get it shipped, like, why would we don't care. We're going to load it on the truck, take a couple of photos, and off it goes. I need it out of my way. And he was super rude to Ty. And I said, then what you're going to do is you're going to change that attitude, or I'm going to hang up on you. And he didn't change the attitude. And I said, click. And he called back, about an hour and a half later. And I said, hey, how's that attitude? You ready to talk this time? And the backstory was that Jonathan had gave him Jonathan had tried to help him with a quote for a hotshot guy. And he didn't like that quote. So he's gotten R&L to come and get this skid on a standard truck. Doesn't work. Can't ship them on a standard truck. But that's on him. He scheduled the freight pickup. They're going to show up tomorrow, I guess, to get it. And we're going to stick it on there. And it's going to go to a terminal. And it's going to get damaged. They're going to smash it with a forklift. And so my trick is, or the challenge, not the trick, but the challenge I have is to try to, how do I help this man understand that where he went wrong, Aaron, in my mind, is when he said, I spent X. And then in his brain, he filled that in with a bunch of things that spending X had nothing to do with. You spent $26,000. There's the skid. Deal's done, right? You want to talk about anything else? That's going to be another charge. What else would you like? You want consulting to help get it to Massachusetts?
I want you to tell me where the nearest covered wagon is that I can put this skid on.
And just super mad, just super mad. Like, bro, I don't know.
Not to the point willing to verbally abuse you, right? Like at that level. Like if a guy was in the room with me and he was talking to Cody in that way, I would have cheap shot him.
We've been in a few places where we was like, I guess we're about to get in a fight right now.
But it's just like, why, and that's what I'm talking about. It's almost like a matrix, Cody.
It is.
It's like a matrix. It's like they can't even see it. You know what I mean?
We see guys, in the groups that we're in, a couple of them it's easy to identify when people do it to you. But what I wonder in my own self as I audit myself and try to make sure is, do I do that? Because the dude's probably a good guy, right?
Right.
And he literally can't see that he's doing that. Or else most guys wouldn't be that way if they were aware of it. They don't want to be that way, right? So the challenge is to see, when you see it, a customer does it to you, and you're like, what the hell are they talking about? You have that moment, try to capture that, and then insert that prism into your rose-colored glasses so that you can try to reanalyze and say, am I that way to my vendors? Am I that way? But, do I stomp my little feet like a little girl?
Mm-hmm.
Do I lay in the floor and cry? Like, what is it? Because I probably do that. Like, we all probably do that to some level. I sure don't want to be like that, because I want to treat everybody. It's the golden rule. Jesus said that it was the golden rule because it's the golden rule. It's the most important one. You should treat others how you want to be treated. And what that means is respecting the boundaries that they've established, that you've established, and not trying to push beyond that, no matter what you make it look like. I'm the victim. I think that's what Aaron hates the most, and I do too. It's that victim mentality, because your boy right here has come from the bottom of the bottom. So nobody can play the victim card to AP. He done been there and further than you ever thought about being. So it's hard to play the victim fiddle and Aaron to be like, yeah, you're right. You're just like, no, you just going to have to pull the bootstraps up and go to work, son.
Bro, it's yeah, it gets colder in the van than it is outside. That's the weirdest thing I learned about that whole damn thing. I was like, how is it colder inside where I'm sleeping in this van than it was outside? I was like, I'm just gonna move the sleeping bag outside. It's better out here, you
Yeah,
know. But
yeah,
I think that's what it is. It's the victimhood thing. It's somebody's out to get me.
yeah,
Do you remember we were in Key West? I bought them Costas online.
yeah.
I bought some Costas online, Costa Del Mars. They still ain't shipped yet. I
You ain't
emailed them. No, I forgot about them. I emailed them like 2 weeks later and I was like, hey, when are the, because I didn't want to be a Wismo. I swear. I was like, I'm gonna give them like 2 solid weeks if these things don't
right.
ship. And I just was like, hey, when do you think these will ship? And they were like, oh, we've been out for Passover or whatever. They'll ship on this date. And I was like, all right, cool, man. I ain't reached back out to him. It's been like 2 more weeks or 3 weeks. It's like,
You're trying. What you're doing there is you're aware and you're trying to not be that guy, right? We had a guy this morning call in. No, it was yesterday. He called in yesterday about 10:30. I sent you the screenshot. Dude ordered Friday at 4:21 p.m. He's calling Monday morning at like 10:38 a.m. checking on his order. I'm like,
it's like, don't check on
it's been 4 business hours, bro.
it. 4 business hours,
If
not
I'm
days.
checking on it, guess what ain't happening?
It
It
ain't
ain't.
been shipped.
So if you'd shut the hell up,
We would ship it.
what ship? Now I'm all for. I'm not saying there's never a moment to call us because we
Totally.
get something every once in a while, right? Some guy calls in, he types in and shoots us one, and he's like, "Hey, I ordered this, about 13 days ago. I know y'all's policy is 2 business weeks, so it's been a few extra days." And we're like, "God dang, we missed that guy's order."
Yeah, but that's, dude, what is
That's
that?
rare.
One in 1,000,
It's a
maybe?
few times a year,
Yeah,
and here's how I know it's super rare because we normally give them the product.
right.
Like, bro, it's free. It's on its way, and we've refunded you anyway. Sorry. We just overlooked your order. A lot of times that used to happen because it would be in a processing status, like there was something weird with their card, and then it would update into a paid status and it's an actual order, and it would get buried past all the old orders. So we got a new system that doesn't filter that way, so we don't miss them like that anymore.
Oh, yeah,
We
so it'd
used
be
to have
like
to
on,
go back to page 9, and say,
yeah.
"Are there any that have populated over the week?" Oh, okay, we're good, we're good. And if you ever didn't go back to page, it was on page 10. I'll be dog. Like, we figured out how we had a broke system. There was a system in place that allowed a few a year, maybe 10 a year to get through the crack. And we were like, Dad gum, that's a legitimate thing that we needed to fix. But you got to be able to identify those and spot them from all the illegitimate complaints that just have no merit to them. It's like, come on now. Let's exercise a little bit of self-awareness. Let's exercise some responsibility. And when we find that fork, this is a daily thing for me.
Bro, I've seen it.
He's
Like,
to
I've
do it.
seen it. Okay. Cody put me in the call log. And I'm gonna tell you, when I see, like, because they go through the answering team and they take the message, right? And when I lose a little hope for humanity. I had to stop looking. I'm getting depressed because of the amount of, it's not even about Wismo stuff. It's just like people who can't help themselves.
Yeah.
They can't help, they're not willing to troubleshoot, and they believe that it's your fault, and you need to show them, I got a question about Mud Mayday. Well, the odd thing is, damnest thing, I wrote the copy on the site with Cody. Everything is there
Took the time
on the
for a
product.
video and embed it on that product page.
There's multiple videos of Cody using it on YouTube. But no, I need to talk to Cody about the Mud Maydays. And I ain't gonna buy none. And I got some, and I ain't gonna buy no more if he don't talk to me. It's like this. And guys, listen, y'all think we're playing? We're not making mountains out of molehills.
No,
I'm
it's
in the call log. I
yeah.
see how many times replace the chemical, replace part, whatever. It's that thinking that someone needs to call you back to teach you how to use it. I
Yeah.
said, no, sir, ain't nobody calling you back.
Nope.
You get to go on the product page, you get to go on YouTube, And guess what you get to do with that first case?
Play around.
Figure it out. That's what you get to do. Get another case coming.
Yep.
Because you know what? Here's what I learned, Cody. I looked on the site for the 7,000th time because that's, I'm there a lot. And the damnest thing is that a case costs $120 plus shipping.
That is free.
I spend more.
You're welcome for that too.
Per month. Thank you for this addiction. I ain't gonna tell them how much I spend a month in cigars.
Oh Lord, bro!
But I spend more a month in this is a good number for rehab. I spend more a month in rehabs, they're equivalent probably, than a Mud Mayday cost. Yeah. And you're running a business. You're running a business, dude. Like there's a bagel shop somewhere in New York City that has $500 in just plain bagels. Not everything bagels.
No.
Not the onion bagel. Not the sesame bagel. That's more money. Just plain bagels. They got like 5 cases of Mud Mayday in plain bagel. But it's like, did you want it for free?
One of my favorites is how far will a jug of this go? And I'm like, I can tell you the exact number. You'll know when the pump up sprayer goes. You'll know that's when it's out. Like how could I remember that, right? Like, do you have hot water? How bad's the stain? When's the last time it was clean? And we're on the phone for 15 minutes. Meanwhile, you had just bought some. You can't call Lysol and say, how far will a can of Lysol go? It's like when you wipe your butt, do you call Charmin and say, now how far? How many particular can I get out of this roll of Charmin? But when we come to this world, for some reason, you need to talk to the CEO of a $10 million company and ask him about the product. It's like, no. The info's already out there. We had a guy call this morning. I sent video to Aaron and the guys. At 9:30 in the morning. Hey, yeah. I just want to talk about some window cleaning, and we don't sell any window cleaning stuff. I said, so you bought some stuff from us? No, I ain't bought nothing from y'all. I just want to see if you can help me. I'm trying to clean some windows, and I was going to do a water-fed pole kind of thing. And you know what? I just said, click. And he called back. I got disconnected. I said, no, sir. You got hung up on what you got. It's like.
Gonna call and just chat about some window cleaning. And y'all don't offer window cleaning stuff. Never have.
Nope.
Not yet, at least.
Not yet.
You see what I'm saying? Never done window cleaning. Cody, you ever clean a window with a water-fed pole?
There ain't the first video. I've never touched a water-fed pole.
He's never
talked about it. There's not a post. There's not an ad. There is not a photoshopped image of me with a water-fed pole. Like it's like one of those. It's like we're But the thing is that we get that guy could go run and leave a negative review because nobody's there willing to think about the amount of payroll and staffing it would take for us to hire somebody to sit there and talk to people that want to be talked to. It's like, just use Google, my friend.
And I say that with the most love.
I really do.
Possibly muster. Because I want everybody to do well. I think everybody, I believe in abundance, man. Abundance thinking is what got me out of the tough times. It was not believing that the market was saturated and not believing in, oh, well, they'll only take this certain price and I got to be competitive and I can't charge high ticket because I'm new and I'm using a Simpson from Home Depot and I'm carrying around an X-Jet around the yard. It was like, I don't care what it is that I'm carrying around the yard. I'm Aaron and I'm walking up here and I'm charging the most I can get and I'm going to do the best daggum job I can. That's it. Bottom line. All right. That's how I believe it's my duty to believe that. I think if I don't think that way, it will somehow, my cuckiness will rub off onto my son. And I'm terrified of that. That's what I'm scared of. I ain't really necessarily scared of me. I know I'll be all right. But what am I teaching him is what I'm constantly looking at. Is like, does daddy cower? Because he's not watching what I say. He's watching what I do. And I think kids learn from a vibe, man. I think they can pick up. I don't think you can hide it from them. I think they're intuitive like that. Like they feel you skirting the problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'll see dudes. There's why I won't go too deep into this, but it's like You'll have a dude whose wife just basically outright disrespects him in front of his face. And you'll see it at little party, little side comments. Oh, he don't pick up nothing.
Yep,
He
you're
don't
right.
pick,
I
he,
ain't picking them now.
I ain't picking up shit. All right. I ain't throwing stuff on the floor. Okay.
So fair.
But I may leave some stuff out, but I ain't actively destroying the joint.
Yep.
But I also ain't picking up shit.
We had that conversation years ago, and Emily's not this way, but you know, we had the conversation. I was like, let me show you something. See this GIS map here? See this property line? All that right there in that box, it's mine. So if I want to throw something on it, I will. It don't have your name on it. It's got my name on it. So if I want to take everything in this house and throw it out there, that's where it'll stay. It, you know, not that I'm going to do that, but
I ain't like that.
I got a buddy that's like that. Dude works 2 jobs. Washing is his second job, and he has to ask his wife if he can reinvest into the business, if he can fortify the business, if he can. He has to ask his wife if he can go the pro route. No. You're doing it wrong, bro. Because if you don't go the pro route and it fails, she's going to blame you anyway.
He said, "That's exactly what it is."
It's just 100% accurate. Bury your talents if you want to, but the master's going to come and snatch them all away and give them to the other guy.
Who's charging high ticket. Don't you know that dude with the 3 talents? He walked out of there with his chest out. He said, "Nah, bro. Hey, it's gonna be two grand for that driveway right there." He said, like, the boy with 3 talents went out. What did he do? Triple it or double it?
Yeah, well, depending on which one you read, he doubled it. 5 and made 10. One, I can't remember. Yeah, but I think there's 2 details different in
two different versions of the story. Anyway, he walked out with his chest out. He said, I'm gonna triple these talents. Like that's how you got to be. And so look, guys, we're gonna cut it here. We've been here for an hour. I want to tell you, I appreciate you guys. This is going to be my new kind of mission on this channel, because I've identified a real problem just peeking into your call log, Cody. And, I've had comments on the channel, but every now and then, it's either guys who really support us, which are great. We appreciate those. And a lot of those guys, like, they're great. They don't bother you. You know what I mean? They're in the chat right now. A lot of them.
If I saw their name, I'd probably talk to them.
The guys in the chat don't even need to be watching this video.
No.
You see what I'm saying? They're great. But
it's ministry because it's definitely needed.
It definitely is. I definitely think that guys can grow from this and learn from this, but it's going to be painful. I'm going to tell you, they're going to hate. They ain't not going to like this, because the beatings will continue until morale improves about this subject. But I think guys can grow from it. I know this took me out of a hole that I would have never gotten out of. Yeah. And the good thing is, I'm going to tell you, man, I don't talk about my story with some air about me of a woe is me or something like that. Yeah. I am so grateful for what happened. And my ex-wife can't stand the shit out of this, okay? That I am just grateful for all of it. Like, it made me into an animal. Yeah. It made me, look, Cody gone. He can't even see. I started being able to see opportunities that I could never see before. So if you own it, guys, look, choose the fork in the road, but choose the pro route. Stock up on chems. I'll see you guys in the next one. All right. Sure.